Yo guys, what is up? C-Ray back with another video, and today I'm going to show you guys how you can progress fast in calisthenics. Let's go. Okay, so everyone says this, but it's so true, and you need to be focusing on the basics, guys. So your push-ups, your dips, your squats, your pull-ups, all of them 4 things you need to be prioritizing in your training, especially if you're just starting off and you want to make some fast progress in calisthenics and bodyweight training. Push-ups are a great exercise for increasing your pushing strength, along with doing dips as well. And if you don't have access to dip bars, then I'd recommend you use 2 chairs, or if you can't even do dips yet, then mainly focus on the push-ups and build up that solid foundation of chest strength and chest muscle so you can progress onto the more advanced exercises and grow your strength and your muscle even further. When it comes to dips, guys, you can start off by doing dip negatives if you haven't quite got the strength yet for normal dips. And what you want to do with this is just jump up to the top of the rep, and all you want to do is come down on the rep as slow as you can, controlling the movement, controlling your muscles, and then repeat that same thing, guys. And eventually you're going to get the strength to get the full dips, and then you can even progress onto more advanced dip exercises. And the same goes for push-ups. So if you can't quite do normal push-ups yet, then make sure you do some negative push-ups, or if you can't quite even do that, then make sure to do some knee push-ups too, because that's also going to be so good for building that initial strength and that initial overall pushing strength that you're going to need to progress fast in calisthenics. Okay, so when it comes to pull-ups, this is probably one of the hardest movements out of all of the 4 that I just said. And honestly, the best way that you can build up your pull-up strength is just by doing dead hangs. Dead hangs is where you just hold onto the bar and literally just hold there for as long as you can. And what this is going to do is it's going to build up your grip strength, and also it's going to get your lat muscles used to what it's going to feel like when you're hanging from a bar. And eventually this is actually going to build up your strength. And when you get good at doing dead hangs, let's say you can hold it for about 30 seconds, and then you can move on to scapular pull-ups. And what this is basically a variation of the pull-up, and all you want to do is hold on to the pull-up bar like you would with a dead hang, but keep your arms as straight as possible and retract that scapula, lift your chest up, retract those shoulder blades, put them all together and come back down again. And this is going to increase your scapular strength, guys, which is so important for your overall back strength and your pulling movements, because before you do any pulling exercise, 99.9% of the time, you're going to engage that scapula, and so you want to make sure it's as strong as possible. And also it's going to improve your form when it comes to the pull-ups. And once you've got the dead hangs and the scapular pull-ups down, then we can move on to actually doing the pull-ups. But if you can't quite do pull-ups yet still, then you can do negative pull-ups where you just want to jump up to the top of the rep and come down as slow as you can. Same thing as we talked about with the push-ups and the dips. You want to start off at the top of the movement and come down as slow as you can, and then eventually over time of doing this, say when you get to about 10 reps of doing this and doing it as slow as you can, then you've mastered it, and then you can go onto the actual pull-ups. And if you could do 10 reps of negative pull-ups, the chances are you can do 2 to 3 reps of normal pull-ups. So make sure you're mastering the easier progressions first. Get to about 10 to 12 reps on each progression and each variation. Then you can move on to the next one, and make sure that each week you're trying to beat your reps and your sets, because that is really the key, guys. Making sure that each week you have a goal to increase the sets, the reps, or the variation. I feel like squats pretty much speak for themselves. All you're doing is doing a squat, and if you can't do a squat yet, then do some chair squats, especially if you're on the heavier side, because this is going to build up your legs and it's going to get you used to what it's going to feel like when you're in that lower position of the squat. And naturally you're just going to build up that strength to the actual squat, and then you can progress into harder variations such as the explosive squats or pulse squats, for example. And the last thing you need to be focusing on is building up that core strength, because pretty much 100% of all exercises in calisthenics and bodyweight training require you to have a good level of core strength to perform, especially when it comes to the more advanced exercises. So you want to make sure that you're making sure your body is as strong as it possibly can be in order to get the correct form in the more advanced exercises, and just get the form in general for the majority of exercises in calisthenics. Because if you're not perfecting that form and making sure that your core is strong enough in order to do the form correctly, then you're just going to end up not doing the exercise correctly, which is going to lead to a whole bunch of problems in the future, such as potential injuries, and it's going to be a lot harder to unlock the more advanced skills. And when it comes to the core exercises that I recommend you doing to progress fast in calisthenics and the ones that you should master, I would recommend mastering the plank and making sure you can do that for at least 1 minute. Then I'd move into a hollow body hold, and this is good for overall contraction of the core, understanding how it's going to feel when you engage it, and this plays into the more advanced exercises for sure. And also I'd recommend making sure that you're solid in the basic ab exercises that you can do, such as your crunches, Russian twists, any variation of sit-ups, and you can also do lying knee raises and lying leg raises, which is also another great pair of exercises that you can do together. So the first thing is to make sure you're focusing on the basics, and within the basics is the compound movements. And you might be thinking, what are the compound movements? Compound movements essentially mean that you're working a lot of muscles at the same time, and they do happen to be the main muscles that are the biggest muscles for muscle growth, such as on push-ups, for instance, you're working your shoulders, your chest, and your triceps, and for pull-ups, you're working a lot of back muscles all at the same time, but you're also including the biceps and a little bit of the rear delts too. So a lot of muscles contracted at the same time, and even your core is engaged throughout all of the movements. So just put all that together, guys, that is a lot of muscles that you're working at the same time. And so this is the key. You don't have to be doing loads of accessory movements, especially when you're starting off and you really want to progress fast in calisthenics, because mastering the compounds and the basic exercises is really going to play into learning the accessory based movements, which you don't really need in order to progress fast in calisthenics, but they definitely are beneficial when you get to a higher level. So make sure that you're firstly focusing mainly on the compound and basic exercises. Okay, so next up, if you're looking to advance in the skill aspect of calisthenics, so maybe you want to learn the planche, the handstand, the frog stand, the elbow lever. If you're trying to learn any of these, guys, then make sure you're only focusing on 1 to maybe max 2 of them, because if you focus on more than that, the chances are it's going to take you a lot longer to get it, and we want to be progressing fast, guys, so you want to make sure that you're focusing mainly on 1 move, otherwise it's just going to get really complicated. You're going to be doing things that you shouldn't be doing for other exercises because you're going to get used to doing, I don't know, having a certain grip or having a certain body position, but if you guys mix that up together, then it's going to get a lot more complicated and overcomplicated, and you don't want that, guys. You want to be focusing on 1 to 2 exercises. Even 2 is pushing it a little bit in my opinion. So try to do 1 exercise per muscle. For instance, if you're trying to learn the front lever, then focus on that. Don't be including the back lever as well, because you're just going to complicate everything. Make sure you're just focusing on 1. If you want to focus on the front lever first, do the front lever, and then you can do the back lever. Try not to do 2 at the same time, because it's just going to get complicated, guys. And I would say that if it's push day, then focus on that pushing movement. So that would probably be the elbow lever that you could include at the start or at the end of your workout if you want to learn that skill. And for pull day, for instance, then you can focus on learning the front lever or the back lever. Whatever one that you want to learn first, make sure you're doing that. Don't do the elbow lever on a pull day, or don't do the front lever on a push day, because yeah, you're just going to mess up your whole schedule, and that's not what's going to allow you to progress fast. When it comes to skills, another issue that I see you guys doing, and which is not going to enable you to progress as fast as you could, is that you're not actually working on that skill for long enough. So you guys think that maybe if you do, I don't know, 3 to 4 sets of a skill, that's enough. And honestly, you want to be fatiguing the muscle as much as possible, or the muscles that you're using when it comes to learning that skill. So let's go back to the elbow lever, for instance. You want to make sure that when it comes to your last sets and when you're trying to learn the skill on a given day, make sure that you literally cannot do the skill anymore, or at least come close to doing it. It's the same thing when it comes to the reps and sets on each push day or each pull day or each leg day, guys. You want to make sure that you're fatiguing the muscle as much as possible, and I just call this fatiguing the skill. So make sure that you guys are fatiguing that skill and making sure that you're doing as much as you can when you're learning it on any given day, so that when you come back to it, you are going to improve on that skill. Because if you guys just do it for 3 or 4 sets for, I don't know, 10 minutes, it's going to take a lot longer to actually get that skill. But if you guys are focusing on that skill for half an hour a day or even 45 minutes, you're going to progress a lot faster. And you might be thinking, I'm not going to spend 45 minutes of my time doing a skill because that just takes up my whole workout. But you don't have to do it all at the same time, guys. You can spread it out throughout the day. You can do 10 minutes after your workout or before, and then a couple hours later, you can do another 10 minutes or another 20 minutes. And then in the evening, just before you go to bed, maybe not just before, but you know what I mean, you can do another 20 minutes of that skill. Make sure that you're spreading it out throughout the day, because this is going to get you the best chance in learning that skill and making sure that you're progressing as fast as you possibly can, because you don't want to be leaving anything on the table, guys. And this actually leads me to my next point, which is, you could say a little bit of a contradiction, but not really. You guys need to be making sure that you have one rest day, okay? So make sure you follow that previous point of learning the skill and fatiguing the skill, but also make sure that you're having at least one rest day a week, even maybe two, because calisthenics is so strenuous on the joints and the shoulders and the wrists, so you want to make sure that you're resting as much as possible, because otherwise it could actually lead to an injury, a forced injury that you really don't want, or it could just lead to you taking longer to progress fast in calisthenics, which is the main point of this video. Although it seems like you're not actually doing anything, you're doing so much just by resting. Let me give you an example. I remember when I was learning the high pull-up, it was taking me so long to get there because I was trying to learn it every other day. But then I had 4 to 5 days off of not doing back at all, not working it. But when I came back, high pull-ups was so easy and I was flying up to the top of the rep, just because I let my muscles actually recover enough so that I could perform to my maximum level. So don't think that by not working out one day that you're gonna slow your progress down, because it's actually the opposite, guys. You're actually gonna speed it up. And this is not an excuse to rest loads, but guys, make sure that you rest at least once a day. I have to force myself to do it these days, and that should be the same for you guys. Make sure that you try and rest for at least one rest day, making sure that your muscles and your joints and your whole body is fully recovered and ready to go again to learn the skill or build the muscle that you want in calisthenics and bodyweight training. And that also leads me on to my next point, which is making sure you're eating enough protein, guys. The reason this is so important is because you're not going to allow your muscles to fully recover, and it's going to take a lot longer to be able to get the skills that you want and grow the muscle that you want, and also the overall strength that you're going to get from bodyweight training. When I first started doing bodyweight training in calisthenics, I really neglected my protein intake, and I did see progress for the first 1 to 2 months of training. So it's not necessarily needed if you're just starting off, but it definitely does help. Honestly, if you're trying to grow the maximum amount of muscle strength and develop your skills in the fastest way possible, then you want to make sure you're having enough. And if you guys don't know how much protein that you need to eat, then make sure to head over to my Instagram. Link is also in the description, and I'll get back to you with how much protein that you need to be consuming. Okay, and the last point and the most important point, and I say this at the end of every single video when I have like a point video, but the most important point, honestly, is to make sure that you're consistent, guys. Please be consistent. I honestly want the best for you guys, and the best way that you can put on muscle fast, develop skills fast, and get strength fast from bodyweight training and calisthenics is to make sure you're consistent. Make sure that you're training at least 3 to 4 times a week. 2 is going to be fine for the first couple months, but you want to up that at least to 3 to 4 sessions a week. Honestly, with me, I can't even go for like 1 rest day a week now, just because I've ingrained into my routine. And that is also a major key of progressing fast in calisthenics and bodyweight training. Just really make sure that you're working your muscles twice a week after a couple months of calisthenics training, and you're at that solid beginner level, bordering to intermediate. You need to be focusing on working each muscle group twice a week. So you want to make sure that you're working your chest twice a week, you want to make sure that you're working your back twice a week, and your legs and your core. And you can do core a little bit more, but honestly, to be on the safe side, you want to be doing it for 2 times a week, and sometimes you can even do 3. But you don't have to be doing it with the same intensity, guys. That is really important. So for instance, you don't want to be doing a massive strength day for chest, and then you don't want to be doing that again like 2 days after or 3 days after. You want to make sure that you do like a heavy chest day, and then you can do a more light chest day, and you can focus on more skill-based stuff. And if you guys are really confused with the right programming that you need, I will be making videos on this in the future, so do not worry. But I'm just letting you know of a point that I wanted to bring up to make sure that you know how to progress faster in calisthenics. And one more thing, I want to make sure that you guys know about this because I do have a program called the Bodyweight Muscle Builder, which goes through all of the right programming that you need, along with ways that you can build muscle using your body weight, lose fat losing your body weight, all the supplements that you need, the best nutrition for calisthenics and bodyweight training, along with motivational videos to help you succeed in calisthenics. So if you guys want to check that out, then the link is in the description. Okay, so that's it from me today, guys, on how you can progress fast in calisthenics and as fast as possible. If you follow all these different steps, put it all together into one concoction, then you are going to see fast results in bodyweight training and calisthenics. And honestly, you're going to progress a lot faster than even I did. I probably would have got to this level in maybe like 2 years compared to 3.5, 4 years if I followed every single thing from the start. So that's why it's lucky that you guys have me here to teach you all these things, so you don't make any mistakes along the way, and that you're making sure that you're performing to your maximum level and not leaving anything on the table. Anyway guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and also subscribe for more calisthenics content. I'm gonna try and post every single day for you guys. It might not work out like that every single day, but I'm trying my absolute best because I want to provide you guys with the most information, content, and just general knowledge about calisthenics so I can see all of you guys grow and we can all grow together. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay consistent, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.